So I'm lucky enough to have an international audience on YouTube, and it's not a large audience. Just because I said international doesn't mean it's a million people, but people from around the world tend to find my videos because I use the keyword Halifax. And so many people have asked me, Nodder, how do I move to Halifax? And can you tell me a little bit about Halifax? How expensive it? What is school like? How hard is it to get a job? So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about moving to Halifax. I already have a video called Moving to Halifax, but this one is going to cover some of the key things about moving there and what to do when you get here to get settled in. Whoever recommended getting a Gorillapod is stupid. I don't know, like, okay, yeah, you can hold it, it's funny and it's squiggly. For those of you that don't know what a Gorillapod is, here you go. This is going to sound absolutely terrible. It's against filmmaking rules to do this, but this thing is dumb. Like, it gets complicated because it moves to the side, and then you're trying to like actually make your camera straight and level and it doesn't work, and then you bend it like this and then that's bent too much, and then you bend it like that and that's bent too much. So that's my first advice for you when you're moving to Halifax. Don't follow convention. Just because people tell me to use a Gorillapod doesn't mean it's not garbage. So when you move to Halifax, you need to use something really cool, and that's called your perception. I keep changing angles because it shakes stuff up and keeps me crafty. So you may be moving from another country to Halifax and wondering about the details. How do I do it? It's very difficult. This video is very much geared towards people who aren't in Halifax right now and are trying to move from another country. They think Halifax is amazing, it's wonderful. You need to know Halifax is a small city, and although you're moving to Canada, which is an amazing country, things are pretty spread out. They're far apart, and the downtown core of Halifax probably ain't as big as you think. If you live in Mumbai, India, it is way bigger. You have more stuff there, I promise. Halifax is sparse. It's spread out. There's residential houses made of siding for kilometers. You're not going to come to some thriving metropolis, but you're going to come here for opportunity. And chances are, if you want to come here, you're either trying to find a job or you're coming here for education. So I'm going to talk to both of those demographics and people who want to come here for education specifically. So if you want to come here, like you want to go to Dalhousie, St. FX, St. Mary's, I don't know, maybe if you looked at the schools, look at all of them, ask what you want to do. Maybe you want to work in business, Dalhousie would be great for you. Look these up online. These you can do yourself. But what I recommend you do when you get here, you're going to be very grateful to be here, obviously. I would if I was moving to any other country. But you also have to be able to come out of your comfort zone. If you move to Halifax, you're going to have to be able to delve a little bit deeper and speak to other people. It shouldn't only be about education. I see so many international students come here and they study hard. They're some of the hardest working people I know, but they don't go out of their comfort zones and meet other people. And the thing is, you walk away with a degree, it's not going to put you at any competitive advantage than any of the other 40,000, 60,000, 100,000 people who graduate every year from the city alone with the same degree as you. So probably not the same degree, but they're graduating with some sort of degree and they're going to be competing with you in some way. So what I recommend you do if you're moving here internationally, meet as many people as possible, form those connections. Once you get your visa and you move into the country, or a student visa and you're here as a student, I don't know how those policies work very well, but if you want to remain in this country and explore the rest of it, I recommend you meet people because they will be your in to stay here. And then you'll have the flexibility. I mean, you probably have citizenship in your own country, so you can go back. You can work here. You could turn this into an opportunity and make a connection across Canada. So that's my advice to you if you're moving here internationally. Make connections, talk to people. It is not the easiest place to make connections because winters are long, everyone stays inside. There's so many different factors that affect that, and you have to be somebody who is willing to come outside their comfort zone regardless of language barriers, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what you think other people think of you. Let me say that again. Regardless of what you think other people think of you. Use Halifax as an opportunity, because it is. And if your goals are very academic and educationally focused, or even if they're not, I recommend you join a club, because a club is going to give you connections to the people who are interested in what you are. Dalhousie has hundreds of student clubs, and all the universities in Halifax, pretty much, they have a lot of student clubs. So go ahead and get involved in those. Different subjects, different academic subjects themselves actually have student groups. So if you're working in kinesiology, there's a kinesiology group. If you're if you're in the medical field and you want to become a doctor, there's a medical group, a journalism group, an arts group, a film studies journal group. Every single thing that you're looking for is pretty much here. You may not hear about them off the bat, but you need to go looking for them. Scout those opportunities the second you land. Get settled in, treat this place like it's your home the second you're here, and go and scout those opportunities. Your job, for however long you're going to be here for, is to form those connections. Now let's talk prices. Halifax rent is fairly cheap, not compared to somewhere like Thailand or Vietnam or India, but it is cheap compared to Toronto or New York City or San Francisco. Compared to those places, it's dirt cheap. But it's still expensive. I mean, I can't live freely in Halifax and not work. I work all the time in order to be able to afford things. So I believe that it's important to come here with a savings, especially if you're going to university. You need to save for that beforehand. See if you can get some sort of assistance or loans or grants or bursaries. If you want to find out how much it is to go to university in Halifax, all of the university websites list that for international students, and that's a huge thing. Rent here, I would say, ranges from $300 to $2,000. And when I say that $300 isn't probably really going to get you a place, it's going to get you a shared apartment that probably isn't in very good quality. When you look at $500-600, you'll get a place. You might be able to score another shared accommodation that looks a little bit better. Once you start getting in the $750 range and above, you'll possibly be able to find a one-bedroom, maybe in a basement or something. Once you start crossing that $1,000 Canadian mark, and if you want to find these currencies online, go search whatever your currency is. If it's Indian rupee, INR to CAD, or CAD to INR, or baht, or a peso, or whatever your currency is, US dollar, go and search that online. But once you look over the $1,000 mark, you'll probably score yourself a really nice, within the $1,000 mark, $1,095 or something, you'll score yourself a nice one-bedroom apartment, depending on what building you're in. And also, you're looking at $1,400, $1,500, you can get nice two-bedroom apartments and split it with someone, so you're only spending $700 each. So it's not super cheap, especially if your currency isn't on par with the Canadian dollar and you haven't saved a lot. But it's not super expensive either. And if you're planning to go to school in Canada, this is one of the best communities to do that. In terms of the job search, I would not recommend coming to Halifax. That's my personal opinion. Big cities are competitive, but there isn't much variety. It's hard to get a job here. It doesn't have a very high employment rate. And I'm not trying to get people out of the province. I think if you are entrepreneurial or you have a creative mind, then this is a great place to move. But if you don't, and you're looking to just walk into a job, this is not a good place to go. Then again, look at Halifax. If you love Halifax and you can't see yourself living anywhere else in Canada, come to Halifax because your heart tells you to. But don't come here because you think you're going to get a great job and an awesome opportunity. You will probably struggle like everybody else does for the first little while. It's not going to be easy, but definitely do some research into that and try to connect with an employer before you come here. And do all the visa stuff properly. Don't just arrive in Canada and, do all the visa stuff properly. Get that sorted out at the beginning. If it's tough, wait it out, figure it out, you can do it. And I believe in you. I think you're going to do amazingly. If you have any other questions about Halifax, send me a message here on YouTube, drop me a comment, and I'll be happy to make another video about it. Thanks for tuning in.